Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Carmine Teaches Photography live from New York City. This is Photo Class 66, and we're here today. It's raining outside, it's freezing cold, and snow is on the way for the afternoon. Oy, what a march. All right, guys, what are we going to talk about today? We have something different. We have something historical. Why is it historical? Well, 19 years ago today, Leica in Germany was preparing for a launch of a new camera. That camera was called the Leica D-Lux 1, the first Leica D-Lux digital camera. And it looked something like this. This is the original Leica branded leather case for this 3.2 megapixel digital camera. Whoa, this was very, very exciting. This is an unveiling. There are only two other YouTube videos out on this camera. I bought this camera over 10 years ago because I've never seen anything like it. It's aluminum on the outside. It just looked absolutely beautiful when I bought it. There's not one scratch on it anywhere. A lot of interesting things about this camera. This camera, if you do some research about Leica over in Germany, the way that they design cameras and from the outside in, they look for a style that will be timeless. And you know what? This does not look like it's 19 years old. It looks like it could have been launched yesterday. This style with these rounded ends is still being used today. Take a look at your Leica Q. It's got the same exact build. It has the same rounded ends. This camera, while designed and engineered and planned in Germany, on the bottom it says very clearly Leica Germany, Leica D-Lux. But if you look over here, it says Made in Japan. Not every Leica camera that you own was made in Germany. Designed and engineered, yes, in Germany, but possibly not built in Germany. So this camera, the Leica D-Lux, some people call it, there's three names for it on how you Google it and look into it. It's called the Leica D-Lux. It's called the Leica D-Lux first version, and it's called the Leica D-Lux 1. So it came equipped with, let's see if we can turn it on. How cool is that? I want you guys to just take a look at the way that the lens, the Leica Elmarit Vario lens, comes out of its hiding. Watch this. How cool is that? How cool is that? Unreal. That is super, super, super. This lens is a 7-element Leica DC Vario Elmarit. It's an f 2.8 to 4.9 to 5.8. That's very complicated. It's 17.4 millimeters. Now, what does that mean? 17.4 millimeters. Well, when you look at it in the way of the sensor size, right? This has a 1/2.5 inch sensor. Let me shut this off and let me explain. Let's explain the shutter. Okay, if we go to a graph, okay, if we go to a graph about sensor sizes, okay, of course this is not to scale. You have medium format. This would be a medium format sensor. This one would be a 35 millimeter full frame. APS-C Nikon is larger, by the way, than the APS-C Canon or APS-C Sigma Fovon. Then the next is, this is what a micro four thirds sensor looks like. This is all just for comparison, right? So this is micro four thirds sensor size compared to 35 millimeter, right? And all the way down at the bottom, we have the 1/2.5 inch sensor, right? So look at the size of that sensor compared to the 35 millimeter full frame. Okay, so that's why when you see the lens, right, and it says it's a 17 millimeter lens, what that means is, I just love opening this. It's so cool. What that means is that it's equivalent to a 35 millimeter to 105 millimeter zoom lens if it was on a 35 millimeter sensor full frame. The camera uses a SD card. All right, let me shut it off again. Okay, look how cool this opens, right? You just give it a nice push, pops open, and it exposes the battery and the SD card. Now, about the SD card. Older digital cameras, right? Older digital cameras. This is a 3.2 megapixel. They cannot use a 128 gigabyte SD card. No, it won't work. This camera, when it was launched, actually in 3 weeks is the actual launch date. And it would be 19 years ago, right? When it was launched, it came with a, hold on to your britches, a 64 megabyte SD card. Okay, so in here, still works. In here, I have a 2 gigabyte SD card. So it'll work with a 1 gigabyte card, a 2 gigabyte card max, 64. No. I have a 2 gigabyte card. It'll work with a 1 gigabyte card, but it came with a 64 megabyte card. So if you can find those, a 64 megabyte, it'll work with that also. Ugh, gigabyte, megabyte, give me a break. Okay, it had a great zoom, optical zoom, right? You can hear it, right? It also had a digital zoom. Let's see. Okay, the ISO range wasn't that great. It was from 50. Well, you can pick automatic ISO, or you can manually set your ISO from 50 only up to 400. This technology, don't forget now, this is 19-year-old technology. Let's see what else. Oh, this is very cool. When you bought this camera from Leica, it offered something called Leica Passport. Very cool, and you'll never find that today. Leica Passport was that it ensured, with an EN, it ensured the buyer of this camera that if you dropped it on cement or in a puddle, they would repair it or replace it for free. How about that? How about that? Leica, even till today, is all about customer first, right? You pay through the nose for Leicas, but they really do stand behind their quality, and they stand behind the consumer. Okay, these cameras I checked today. Look Look at that. Oh, that lens cap is just amazing. Um, I checked today on eBay, March 9th, 2022, and there's only two listed, right? One is for $1,000. It comes in the case, uh, in a presentation box with a leather case like this, and it's just ridiculous, actually. And there's another one for sale in working condition for $130. So, oh, and if you check the sold, what they sold for previously, working, $80. So you have this big range from sold at 80, currently 130, and $1,000. So, but these are pretty rare. There are, like I said, there's only two other YouTube videos out about the Leica D-Lux 1 or first version or just the Leica D-Lux. Oh, on the other side, it does have USB and a audio-visual out jack on the other side, right? It has on the dial button on top, right? You have fully auto, you have program, macro, portrait, landscape, movies, takes movies, playback button over here. It gives you two choices, right? It has a viewfinder here, right, which goes straight through to here. Or you can use the screen in the back to compose your photographs, right? You can use your screen. You can use the viewfinder. It's a really very cool. Oh, it has a tripod screw on the bottom. Let's see what else. Let me shut this down. Beautiful. I love it. Let's see what else it has. On-off button. The shutter button is on top. And what's cool about it, now you know on your regular cameras, right, your shutter button would always be high, right? So you can feel it as you're looking through the viewfinder without having to move your eye. This shutter button, you can't feel it. You can't feel it. So if you're looking through, right, you might be pressing the body, but there's nothing here to tactile to tell you that you're on the shutter button. So you can either keep your finger on it or keep looking to make sure you're on it. A friend of mine had a great idea. He says if you get a small piece of Velcro that has the peel and stick on the back, you can make a little tiny circle of Velcro and put it right here, so you'll have a little tactile indication of when your finger's on the shutter button. I'm not going to do that. All right. Let's see. What else can I tell you? Oh, well, built-in flash, right? Built-in flash right here. Right there, built-in flash. I just want to show you again the awesome lens cover. Look at that. Just absolutely beautiful. Okay. I know you all want to say or see some images. Well, I have one. Okay, here's an image taken with the Leica 1, D-Lux 1. Okay. Sharpness, very nice. It's only a 3.2 megapixel camera, right? Now, the color science for Leica digital cameras has changed, obviously, over the last 19 years. The color science for the Leica, this Leica, the D-Lux 1 first version, they went heavy on the warm tones. They went heavy like, if you're familiar with Kelvin, 3000 Kelvin, right? That range for warm tones, for like golden hour, right? So, I mean, it's not bad, right? It's not bad. This is a picture I took with this camera recently. This happens to be a volunteer fire department in over on Staten Island, the Oceanic Hook and Ladder Company 1. Very cool building. Still in operation from what I understand. Anyway, getting back to the camera, a 3.2 megapixel digital camera with a tiny 1 over 2.5 inch sensor, right? Compared to 35 millimeter full frame sensor, you could still take great pictures with it. You could still take great pictures with a small digital sensor. What size sensor do you think is in your cell phone? It certainly isn't a 35 millimeter full frame, right? What size sensor do you think is in your cell phone? And you all know, you've all taken very good photographs with your cell phone. Okay? So that's a wrap. We went over the 19-year-old Leica D-Lux. First version. I love it. This is crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Show you the back a little more. Right? It works. Great little camera. Would I recommend buying this as an everyday shooter? No. I feel it's a little too delicate, actually. If you want to buy this model camera for your collection, if you're a Leica collector, purchase one that's in very good, excellent condition. Make sure it works. Run it through its paces. And then take the battery out, take the SD card out, put it in its case, right, and store it. But here's the thing I want to tell you about these cameras. It's electronic, and like all electronics, they break for no apparent reason. A piece of solder gets old and comes off the circuit board, and you'll never start again. Also, this camera, right, the lens cover that you saw sliding back and forth, that's very mechanical, and that has lubricants, right? And what did we do? I made a whole video about old lubricants, as the volatiles, right, the liquids that made it nice and soft, the lubricants, right, they evaporate over years, and what you're left with is just a tar ball. So that you might have a problem, an issue. Oh, this is what I want to tell you. You might have an issue if you buy one of these, or if you have one of these. And on the back, right, on the back, when you start it up, and it says system error, and the lens hasn't popped out, let me tell you what it most probably is. When you turn it on, a system error, right, could be that the little lens cover, that sliding door, is having trouble going back. So this is what I had to do. Okay? When it's been in storage for years and years, okay, and you get a system error after you turn it on, just give it the lightest help sliding back. Just give it the slightest help. And what that did was it helped get that lubricant back going again. Because in here, if you had X-ray vision, right, in here, or like your window in your car window, right, it has arms that go on a track. It's the same thing here. It's the same mechanical layout, right? Like your car window, that it has to push it up and come down. It has gears, it has arms, it has lubrication, right? Once I helped the little door open, It worked. I shut it off. I did it like 10 times, like just like you saw now. Turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. And it lubricated those arms, those gears, right? So if you have one or you're going to get one, every 6 months, charge the battery, put it in, turn it on, lubricate the gears that help this little circular lens cap go back and forth. Okay? And that should take care of this system error. The other system error that you may get with these is that your SD card is too big. Stick with a 64 megabyte, a 1 gig or a 2 gig SD card tops. Don't think it's going to work with a 64 gigabyte SD card. No. I don't know why you would think it would work, but that's what happens with older digital cameras. They don't work with SD cards that they weren't designed for. Just great. Just a great little Leica that nobody knows about. Okay, guys? So let's put this back into its case. Right? And we'll put it back in storage and take it out in 6 months and exercise the lubricants again. Okay? Show you the picture that it took. Not too bad. Okay? All right, guys. We've gone 21 minutes. This has been episode 66. I want you to subscribe. I'm giving you some homework. Please subscribe. Go right over here to the red button. Right over here. Give me a thumbs up. Come on. You can do it. Comment below. Send me an email. blackandwhitephoto@aol.com. I will answer all your photography questions. Also, visit my online gallery, CarmineTaverna.com. I just checked and I have over 2,400 photographs, including the equipment that I used. It's just another teaching tool to show you guys, here's the photograph and here's all the equipment that was used to take it for most of my photos. Okay, guys, have a great day. I think we covered everything. All right. This is Carmine coming to you live from New York City. Have a great day.